Hey, I'm Brandon Lien. My life, if I was to talk about how I was raised and where I grew up, I was raised around here, small town Missouri, in the Bible Belt. Had a pretty good childhood. That all came crashing down about the age of 12. My parents were struggling addicts, and I didn't know growing up that we were any different. But like I said, at the age of 12, everything changed. We decided that we were going to move to Arizona, try to get a fresh start. And we get out to Arizona, and my family fell apart again. My parents fell back into their addiction. They had issues, life-controlling issues that just tore our family apart. And so, growing up innocent and young in the Bible Belt, I attended church, and, I felt like life was good. Fast forwarding to Arizona and getting out there, and our lives just fell apart. I learned the harsh reality of what addiction does and how dark addiction can be really quick at a young age. So talk about my life a little bit at that point. At 12 years old, having both of your parents basically disappear out of your life, being stolen from you because of addiction and what addiction does, I myself then fell apart about that age. Being in the middle of the heart of Arizona, I quickly ran into the wrong kinds of people. From the ages of 12 to 16 years old, I was heavily involved in narcotics transportation, weapons transportation, and I was just involved with the wrong kind of people. I was searching for anything and everything to escape from the pain of, my family falling apart, not having purpose, but, really just being drawn in by, the worst kinds of addiction and darkness that was available. Well, recovery ministry, I ran from God for as long as I could. I blamed God for what happened to my family. I blamed God for not understanding addiction and what it did to, my parents and separating my family. So eventually, I couldn't run any longer. There was nothing left. A decision had to be made. And so I finally surrendered myself fully to God. And so God brought me to a program in Aurora, the Dream Center. And there it's a 12-month long program where it's Jesus Christ discipleship. It focuses on addiction recovery, life-controlling issues, people for home plans out of incarceration, and quite frankly, anybody's just struggling to find purpose. So you spend 1 year there getting discipled and loving on people and just loving people back to life. People that have gone through addiction or from families who have, been ripped apart from addiction. I spent 3 years there pretty much just serving and loving and teaching and helping develop and disciple people through that darkness of addiction. And it's just through that process, I found my passion for my purpose, which is just addiction recovery and helping people through that process. All right, I met Pastor Dylan at Save Our City Revival. John Stroop's Revival Freeway Ministries had put it on. We had screen printing that I was doing. I had shirts set up there. Pastor Dylan loved one of our shirts, the Jesus Rose shirt. And at that point, we just were really kind of drawn to each other a little bit. So I fast forward a little bit after that revival, and I'm sitting in my church service one day, and I was really in a transitional point in my life. I had been serving at Freedom for a couple years, or a few years almost now, and I really was kind of seeking God, finding out where He was going to take all this experience with addiction recovery and running the Dream Center for a while, and just looking for God to open doors to lead me in the direction of what He wanted me to do with all this experience in addiction recovery and discipleship that I had done. And I'm literally sitting in church, middle of service, and somebody passes me a note. And it was kind of common. Sometimes I would get notes, and so I kind of grabbed it and didn't pay much attention to it immediately. I opened it up a couple minutes later, and it said, "I feel like you should get a hold of Pastor Dylan at the Well." Well, funny enough, I reach out to Pastor Dylan a week later or so, and right when we talk, he said, that's amazing, that's incredible, Brandon. I literally have on my calendar to try to get a hold of the Jesus Rose guys. And so that's really what brought me to the Well. That's how I met Pastor Dylan. just God-sized opportunities, doors being open that no man could construct himself. I'm so excited to see what God is going to do here through Redemption Ministries at the Well. I want to talk to a couple different people out there. Number one is the addict, that person who has struggled with their addiction or life-controlling issues. I'm just a warm invitation to be part of Redemption Ministry here at the Well. And then secondly is that person who has struggled to find their purpose or place in ministry. We're looking for all kinds of people who are servant-hearted and just want to love people back to life. So I'm just excited to see all the many possibilities God's going to do in this new season with Redemption Ministry here at the Well.